reason I go on these various shows is in order to have conversations like this, because I believe change is possible. Turn straight ahead for my single. A single that frankly wasn't there, because this is Tucker Carlson today.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back. I'm Van, and we are all the LFR family. Thank you so much for clicking play. Hopefully, you click that like button as well. And don't forget, if you have a moment on your hand, just 1 or 2 minutes, make sure you go to LFRFamily.com and ask me about the Bang Bang team. Or not, if you don't want to. Thank y'all for watching all of our videos and participating in the comment section, man. I really appreciate that. We about to check out something that just now came out. And the reason why we're doing it is because Russell Brand has been on a world tour kicking everybody's butt. I think he's going on a comedy tour right now, and he's making his stops at all of the platforms, all of the news platforms, and he's giving them a bit of information that they probably don't want to hear at the moment. So I know that he just now came off of the Tucker Carlson show. He was on Tucker Carlson one-on-one with Russell, and and they had a good conversation. And I'm about to check out a video of Russell telling us what he got from the conversation.
I had, and I want you to ask yourself these questions and let me know in the chat and comments what you think. I went on Tucker Carlson and Greg Gutfield's Fox News show, leading the neoliberal establishment to attack me for being a right-wing conspiracy theorist. But is it necessary to have new conversations? And who is it that's interested in censorship now? Is it the left or is it the right? Hello there, you 6 million awakening wonders. Thanks for joining me on this voyage to truth and freedom, which will involve new alliances, new conversations, new ways for peripheral voices to...
Now, most of you already know that we checked out him on Gutfield when he was on the round table. Now, we didn't see the whole thing. We just saw the one little part that he was in. I don't know if he was in longer portion of it where he got interviewed by Gutfield. He probably just got interviewed by Tucker Carlson while he was at Fox News. It was just there for that one segment on Gutfield, but we checked that part out. That's when I was telling you about Emily Compagno. Emily Compagno.
Attack centralized establishment authoritarian powers, which is exactly why I was appearing on Fox News and having conversations with other commentators and pundits from across the political spectrum. The controversy was stirred up by my appearance on shows like Tucker Carlson, Greg Gutfield. I spoke to Ben Shapiro, also numerous right-wing commentators. You'll remember, if you're my age, that right-wing just used to be one of the things that a person could be and wasn't automatically associated with things like fascism and racism and all the ideas I think fundamentally we're agreed are bad ideas wherever we stand politically. So what is the agenda of the neoliberal establishment media? What do they want spoken about? What do they not want spoken about? Because let me tell you up front, what I learned...
Is that a jelly bean necklace? What you got on, bro? Is that a jelly bean necklace he got on?
Learned from my conversations with figures from the conservative right, let's call them, is that there is a new willingness to form new alliances in order to be able to attack centralized establishment authoritarian power. I.e., explicitly, people that are conservative and right-wing are willing to have a truce with and alliances with people that are really progressive. They are, in fact, willing to accept that the only way forward for us is to have more democratic power and autonomy in our communities, and that the price for having autonomy and authority in your own community, and I mean power that's achieved democratically, is to allow other people to have their own power and authority in their own communities. However,
yeah, there's definitely a however, because you can't have all of it. Everybody can't have power in their own space. So I'm really, I would love to see what he has to say. I know y'all like, if you would love to see it, then you shut your ass up. Well, I am! God dang it!
Centralized power wants, of course, a centralized, authoritative, institutionalized power to dictate what is possible and benefits from ongoing cultural conflagration. The reason I go on these various shows is in order to have conversations like this, because I believe change is possible. And before I show you these clips, bear in mind that just a few short years ago, I did this at Fox News.
This is private property.
This bit here?
Yes.
Whose property is it?
The building.
Who's the building belong to?
It doesn't matter.
No, it does matter.
It doesn't matter.
I'll just say it then.
You want to get arrested?
We were booked on to Sean Hannity's show.
Wow.
Okay.
And then it was cancelled. Can I come up, have a look around, maybe have a look at the studio, touch some stuff, meet some of the people from the Hannity show?
Got a wig outside.
He said, I want to come up there and look in the studio, probably touch some stuff.
Why?
And let me find out he was a he was a far leftist.
Because that's what we want you to do.
So, here are some of the moments from the conversations I had, and I want you to ask yourself these questions and let me know in the chat and comments what you think. Do these conversations improve the chances of us forming new power structures and new systems? Who is it that seems to be benefiting from the ongoing cultural war? And let me know in the chat and the comments, because I'm interested in what you think, and I believe you can handle nuanced thinking. Let's have a look, first of all, at my appearance on Tucker Carlson on Fox News.
He calls it a power war. I call it like I don't know. It's definitely a struggle for power, man. It definitely is.
In this conversation, both Tucker Carlson and I came to it knowing that we would disagree, presumably, about a lot of issues. That I, broadly speaking, belong to what you might call the cultural left. That
Thanks for the sub, Jimmy Soul.
he is a conservative person, you might say.
Wow.
We were surprised, in fact, about how many things we agreed upon, I suppose because we both agree with individual and community freedom. There were moments where I gently and respectfully confronted Tucker Carlson around some of the issues where I explicitly disagree with him. For example, the way he's spoken about homelessness in the past, perhaps identity issues, issues of sexuality, and I was surprised, in fact, about how little Tucker Carlson really cared about regulating the private life of other people. But what I would say is that what inspired me about this conversation is both Tucker Carlson and I are absolutely disenchanted with establishment power, whether it's on the left or the right, that neither of those terms mean anything anymore, that authority and government power has been co-opted by financial interest to such a degree that no one is voting for anything meaningful anymore. Have a look. These are them facts that I was going to tell you about, if I may. I hope you will. I certainly shall do my best. I wanted to do it down the barrel. Did you see that? Did you see the presumptiveness of me there, Tucker? To turn straight ahead for my single. A single that frankly wasn't there, because this is Tucker Carlson today. Let's get a nice little show.
I like that. Did y'all see what just now happened? And he called himself out for it. He was like, okay, I'm here, and now I got they about to zoom in on me. And there was no direct camera to look at him. Oh, man, I love that. All right, let's move on.
Shot. I'm Mr. Brand.
Thank you. Look at he directs from the floor. Hello, America. In the world of energy, you know energy that we require to do stuff, to move things about, to warm our homes. At least 100 members of Congress own fossil fuel stocks, of which 59 are Republicans and 41 are Democrats. Oh, look, the Republicans are a bit worse. Pharma. Of the $263 million of the pharmaceutical industry spent on lobbying in 2021, it gave 61% to the Democrat Party and 39% to the Republicans. Oh no, the Democrat Party is a bit worse. Wall Street. In 2022...
Oh no, the Democrat Party is a bit worse. Oh, I love what he's doing. I see what he's doing now. Okay, give me a minute. I see exactly what he's doing.
Commercial banks spent over $30 million lobbying Congress, 61% to the Republicans and 39% to the Democrats. Oh no, look, the Republicans are a bit worse. If you've seen any of the criticism in the neoliberal media, you might think, well, what was it about? Because these are not right-wing talking points. This is anti-establishment, anti-authoritarian, anti-financial corruption rhetoric that everyone should be interested in. So it makes me think that the voices that are attacking me are, whether unconsciously or not, supporting establishment power. Let me know in the comments, let me know in the chat. Let's see what's coming next. Nearly 20% of Congress members, 49 Democrats and 44 Republicans, have been trading shares of companies in industries they are supposed to be overseeing as part of their committee assignment. Each one of these facts indicates a potential solution to the problem that it describes. Don't let members of Congress own stocks at all.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you.
Pharma. Do not accept lobbying money from the pharmaceutical industry. It's a health industry. The interest should be, as the Hippocratic Oath declares, to do no harm and, get this, maybe even help people. A lot of my time spent thinking I wish I could pull that necklace back in front. There's a pendant there and it's gone off to the... Wait a minute. Oh no, it's swung to the right. And if you remove the gargantuan motivation for profit, and I'm not talking about ending trade and profit and all of those kind of extremist arguments, I'm simply saying this is a behemoth. This is corporate gigantism. This is an outgrowth. This is a tumour. This has gone too far, and it is possible to change it. And people that say it's not possible to change it are invested in it staying the same. You will notice that. In defence, military contractors have spent $2.5 billion on lobbying over the past 2 decades. They split their checks more or less evenly between the Democrat and Republican candidates, almost as if they've anticipated the possibility that either of those parties could get into power. Oh no, we've spent all our money on the Republican parties. What if the Democrat Party get into power? Should we give them some money as well? Oh yeah, that means whoever gets in, our outcomes will be served.
You know what I love? I love too that with him being on, I got him stuck on his face. You know what? That's his business right there. He deserved to look goofy for a minute. All right, so check this out. I love the fact that he's having this conversation not only with the country, but with Tucker Carlson one-on-one. And there's no laugh box on the show. There's no applause sign for people to start laughing whenever he says something funny or humorous. I love that because Tucker Carlson is just letting him rock. He's just letting him be like, hey, go ahead and do your thing. I'm listening. I'm sitting here, man. I'm eating it all up. But one thing that I noticed that Russell Brand does, which is it's extremely impressive if you think about it. He goes to these news syndicates, these platforms where they do nothing but news all day long. And then when it's his turn to speak, he always give news to their audience that a lot of times they won't even say. I'm thinking he's saying some things that I've heard Tucker Carlson say before. All right, because most people don't miss out on certain things, but you barely hear anybody talking to these pharmaceutical companies the way that Russell Brand is doing it. These other news syndicates, they can't do it. By contract, they can't do it. They know they can't do it. And they probably want to just shut you up or shut off your mic or whatever, but you're the guest. And I love the way that their plan is because they're just letting them talk.
That's not right-wing rhetoric, except unless you feel that what right-wing means ultimately is a position that's anti-government and anti-establishment. And I know some of you do. I know that that's exactly what many of you feel. Let me know in the chat and the comments. But what I'm interested in are systems of organisation that are beneficial to the people that they purport to serve and are accessible to the people that they purport to serve.
They don't serve the people that they purport to serve. It's not about the people. I mean, it is about the people because, hey, we're going to give you something for helping us do the thing that we're supposed to be doing that we discuss behind the closed rooms. It's not about the people. I mean, yeah, you want to make sure that your people are okay because the people are what keep the world going, keep everything moving, obviously. But they are more concerned about who's going to maintain power, all right? I mean, because the order of things they're trying to shift. Right now in the US run everything. The US is the world's power. Like they're the number one. But you know, other countries are making plays right now. So it's extremely serious to some people in office, and it's more greedy. It's more about greed to others. And that's the problem. Some people are really concerned about humanity. Some people are concerned about tomorrow. Will there be a tomorrow? Not only for myself, but for the rest of the country. Like, because there's been a bunch of empires that have fallen, if you think about it. So we don't want to be one of them empires that fall. All right? So that's what's going on.
Do you not think it's possible when you see things like Uber and all of these new tech apps that ultimately aggregate various powers, whether it's a car or a house, centralize it and allow it to be distributed, meaning things are possible now that just didn't used to be possible? Don't you think that could be applied elsewhere to political power, that you could have systems where you vote for how utilities are run, systems how you vote for how resources are spent? Oh no, that would mean you wouldn't need people hundreds of miles away or thousands of miles away, in the case of the United States of America, that are lobbyable, biasable, corruptible, making decisions with your money when they're getting paid from elsewhere. That would be a terrible system.
Corruptible.
180 Democrats and 149 Republicans joined forces to pass last year's record $839 billion National Defense Authorization Act. The Pentagon spent $14 trillion after 9/11. 55% of it went to for-profit defense contractors.
This dude got all the receipts, bruh. He come up there with pinpoint numbers.
Over half of the 14 trillion spent by the Pentagon went to for-profit defense contractors. That doesn't mean that everything they do at Northrop Grumman, who I think make amazing telescopes, or Lockheed Martin, who I'm sure do incredible stuff, is nefarious, but it does mean it's worthy of investigation, and these are facts that are significant in the way that your country is organised, in the way that your media reports on stories, and the way that all of us live our life, because of course those tax dollars are yours. That's your money that's being described in those enormous figures. Now, of course, at the moment, Tucker Carlson is particularly embroiled in controversy around January 6th and the revelation that his interpretation of those tapes demonstrates that there are questions to be asked around the way the situation was policed. And we're going to do a video on that tomorrow because, believe you me, the Capitol Police are getting some new funding that's pretty interesting. And it's a complicated issue and there are many, many perspectives on it. But you, I'm sure, like me, would agree that to be able to say that kind of stuff on a mainstream channel is helpful and advances the conversation and is generally, I would say, conciliatory in tone. Elsewhere in the chat, I explicitly say that I believe people should be able to identify however they want, express themselves however they want, as long as they don't hurt anyone else. Obvious kind of stuff like...
Man, you talk fast as hell, Russell. God damn, bruh. I get it. You have a whole bunch to say in whatever amount of minutes that you've given yourself. And you probably have a timer on that you have to say 10,000 words before that timer goes, bloop, and you're going to make sure you daggone do it. Every single show. I get it. Slow down just a little bit. Please. Russell Brand. Sir Russell Brand. Slow it the hell down. Un poquito.
Like that. And I specifically spoke to Tucker around the issue of homelessness. The only thing that I've ever seen, sir, that I would call you up on is when I've seen you talking about homelessness. And I feel that when talking about the subject of destitution and people that live in poverty, that the basis for that conversation should be love, and also for all of the displaced people in the world, that the foundational principle should be love. I'm not claiming that I'm able to maintain that line when something offends me for some cultural or personal reason, but I know that this is what I aspire to.
Bless you, brother. Yes. Yes. He hasn't done that. He hasn't done that. Like, he hasn't come on the Bill Maher show and said, this is why I got beef with you. Or he hasn't done that on MSNBC either. But he did that with Tucker because, you know what? Here's the thing. Here's the beautiful thing right here. If you notice, Tucker's not trying to shut him up. They are allowed to speak freely as men. That's it. But when he was about to start, when he started talking on Bill Maher, what did they start doing? They started trying to quiet him down. So, be quiet. You're not supposed to talk about that. You know, they was trying to quiet that man down, but he kept it moving.
I agree with that. And I feel that drug addicts living outside are used as political pawns to destabilize society. I feel like they're not treated on purpose. The mentally ill live outside and die outside and are left to do that because it's useful for the people in power to draw attention away from their own misdeeds. And I'm angry about it, but I'm not angry at the fentanyl addict. I'm angry at the industry that's grown up around him that doesn't treat any of his needs, that leaves him to die alone, and that becomes rich doing so. And that the politicians who posture about his death when they could have prevented it. And unfortunately, I get so overheated, I get so pissed that in many cases I have allowed myself to sound like I'm mad at the junkie when I'm certainly not. As a sober person, I have deep empathy for anyone who's lost an addiction, particularly on the street.
So there we go.
Wow, that was a good answer, man. He broke that joint down. He just, look, the humanity is there. And my communication may not be the way that you would like for it to be, because obviously you're catching it different than I'm trying to throw it, but pause. But the humanity is definitely there. It's bigger than that. Who I'm talking about are the people who are benefiting off of these people being, strategically placed in certain areas for their benefit, not for the homeless people's benefit, but for whoever's in power in that space.
Tucker Carlson, who on a personal level was extremely kind and beautiful to me, and I think is a good person, and I don't believe that he is a negative influence in American cultural life. I believe that you have to accept that people have different perspectives on cultural issues, and if you don't, the alternative is some form of tyranny, and hopefully it's the form of tyranny that you happen to agree with, and I don't think that's the answer, because it's a big old world out there, and people do human different. So I think that, broadly speaking, that was a positive conversation, and generally speaking, we need more conversations like it.
Yeah, I hear that, right? Yeah, because I know that there's a great deal of people who watch Russell Brand that do not watch Fox News. And if you are one of those people, You're probably not watching because you was fed some type of information, or you seen one of his little 30-second clips thinking that he was being an asshole, where he was just, you know, he probably was to you, but isn't that subjective, right? That's subjective. Everybody's, well, he's saying it the way he's saying it because obviously there's a great deal of people in the country who are not offended by what he's saying. If he knew he was offending a whole slew of people, then, you know, obviously he'll explain where he's coming from if he knew that that was the case, which he just did. So that right there, that's stand up for Russell to say that, man, because I know that he's not right or left. He claimed to be center. I think he's more right than he is left, but that's just me.
And by God, I've been having them because I also went on Greg Gutfield's show, which I didn't know is the highest rated late night show in television, not Kimmel or any of those others. It's this one. So I went on there to talk about similar issues, which of course, I suppose, makes me a right-wing conspiracy theorist. And like all good right-wing conspiracy theorists, I went on Fox News and said this.
Worried about the IQ decline?
Yes, I am. And actually, I've got a series of good points to make because education is fundamentally affected by poverty. Here, Greg Gutfield was talking about IQs dropping in America for the first time in, I don't know, 50 years, ever, one of those things. And I used the opportunity to talk about education and the connection between education and poverty and the necessity to invest in education. Have a look. Okay, so listen to this. According to Global Citizen, poverty is the main barrier to education in the United States. I want to draw your collective attention to the pandemic. I think we all understand that during the pandemic, education declined. Now, I can see that Greg's only got a 1 minute break, 1 minute to a commercial, so I've got to wrap this.
I also have other panelists, Russell. Huh? I have other panelists.
Oh, thanks for coming. Now, listen, during that
And they still got their time. He was quick.
pandemic period, billionaires added $5 trillion to their fortunes. That means that during the pandemic, a new billionaire was created every single day, while extreme poverty increased everywhere, while small businesses closed everywhere. Now, I'm going to say something on Fox News that until recently would not have been possible. As President, Donald Trump's tax cuts helped billionaires pay less taxes than the working class in 2018. For the first time in American history, the 400 wealthiest people paid a lower tax rate than any other group. Right-wing fascists, come on. But check this out, Fox News viewers, because you're going to like this bit. In October 2021, Democrats scaled back plans for a crackdown on tax cheating, bowing to an aggressive lobbying campaign by the banking industry, while Joe Biden told rich donors on the campaign trail that nothing would fundamentally change if he were elected president. So like some of the great points in your monologue, you made the point that it's the two-party system itself, and in particular the manner in which it is funded, that prevents meaningful change for ordinary people. And this education problem, while the jokes you made were about the culture, Kardashians, etc., really, education, if the state has a duty at all, it is the cultivation of young Americans, it is the protection of young Americans. This would be my point, Greg Gutfeld.
Very good.
Preach, brother. Preach. God dang it. This would be my point, Greg Gutfield. He is always on point, bruh. Like, he's always focused. He know when to wrap up the speech. He's looking at the clock. He's putting this dude is always on point, man. How do you do it, bruh? Do you just stand around and practice all day? Do you just read all day? What you doing with it?
Yeah, very good.
I belong to self-organising, anarchic, mutual support groups that help people with various addiction issues. In those groups, we say, look for the similarities and not for the differences. Do you think that might be something that's applicable in culture more broadly? That we should look for the areas where we agree with one another rather than focusing on the disagreements. Where there are disagreements, perhaps what we have to have is autonomy. You want to live a traditional lifestyle, you go for it. You want to live a progressive lifestyle, you go for it. The state should be minimally involved in people's lives. Minimally might mean you need support with education, you might need military support. These are things that we can vote on. Wouldn't you prefer to be voting in systems where your politicians haven't already been co-opted? Let me know in the comments. Are you willing to allow other people to live how they want to if they allow you to live how you want to? Do you think centralized authority might benefit from continually stoking differences, creating conflict between ordinary people who have far more in common with one another than they'll ever have with the establishment and institutions that govern their lives? Do you think a better world is possible if we reach out our hand in friendship to people that we don't agree with? Or do you think we should be doubling down on differences, throwing stones, arguing and bickering? Can you imagine me having a conversation like that on MSNBC or CNN?
It's experience.
If he would have slowed down that daggone, this 17-minute video of his a little bit, it would be a 30-minute daggone video, because he's saying so much so quickly, man. He just now asked me like 8 questions. How many do you remember? I'm gonna have to go back and watch this again just to answer the daggone questions.
It's just sort of taking it all in.
You are talking about me as if I'm not here and as if I'm an extraterrestrial. Doesn't that seem like a reason to go on Fox News and discuss that stuff? Let me know in the
Yeah, that was rude of them, man. The way that they treated that guy when he came in there, that was just not classy, y'all. Not classy, San Diego. Not classy, god dang it.